I'm delighted to introduce you to our next panel for today, Crypto and Web3, a broker's nightmare or the pot of gold. Please give a warm welcome to our moderator, Nikita Sachdev, founder and CEO of LunaPR, who will now introduce her panel.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here this morning. Promise to make this panel very exciting. Before I begin, I would love to start off with some introductions. I'll go first, and then we can hand it over. So my name is Nikita Sachdev. I'm the CEO of Luna Media Corporation. We're an umbrella company that houses LunaPR. Nothing to do with LunaTerra, by the way. We are a leading PR and marketing agency in Web3, been around since 2017. I personally started my crypto career with Huobi Exchange in Singapore. Another thing that we have under Luna Media Corporation is the franchise for Cointelegraph Middle East and North Africa. So we run Cointelegraph MENA. We also produce a Web3 show on CNBC Arabia. We do a lot of covers of Entrepreneur Magazine. We place a lot of our crypto clients on Forbes, Bloomberg. We're almost like a bridge from crypto to traditional media. We also have a small VC called Luna VC and a foundation where we educate girls from the ages of 10 to 18 with high school education. And that sums us up. I'll hand it over.
Thank you. My name is Christopher Flinos. It has started. Thank you for the 7 of you that came. Clearly this is a made-for-TV event. My name is Christopher Flinos. I'm the CEO of HAYVN. We're a financial institution focused on digital assets. Most of our clients are businesses, corporates, institutions. We don't do retail. Asset management, custody, trading, and we also have a payments business. The whole payments side of the ecosystem is growing. So we're not a Web 3.0, we're not a DeFi, we're not like kids, we're not designing, we're not changing the world. We're more of just a financial institution providing safe access to digital assets.
Hello, everybody. I'm Andrey, and obviously I'm from Nexo. After these intros, I think that we can work with all of the panelists together, one way or another. So, a really great company. In Nexo, from the retail side, we are doing staking, lending, all these fancy banking stuff for the digital assets. And from the institutional side, obviously, we are giving liquidity for our institutional clients. We are also doing some additional, let's say, risk management and brokerage stuff for our clients. So, yeah, I think it will be a good discussion today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So let's start off with the overall ecosystem. So recently, we've seen the crypto market pump roughly around 20%. Yay, it's been a good mix. And obviously, this was a result of interest rates, inflation rates, and the stock market going up. But in the past, Bitcoin has been seen as a hedge against inflation. It's so comparable to gold. So what are your thoughts on the crypto market? Are we hitting a recession soon in the US? If so, how does that impact the cryptocurrency market?
Yeah, in general, what we saw in the last 12 months, or maybe a little bit more, I would say that the crypto ecosystem and the cryptocurrency, and of course the Bitcoin as the main cryptocurrency in general, it's like slowly become one of the another asset where you can trade, you can invest, and it's slowly moving together with the other traditional assets. It's probably because a lot of institutional companies are now in the space, because in the early stage, only retail clients were trading crypto, and the market was a little bit different than what we can see, for example, for the indexes, FX, etc., gold, oil. But now, these days, I think that, especially in the last 12 months, it's really a super strong correlation between, for example, the US indexes, especially NASDAQ, Dow Jones, and also on the other side, Bitcoin and the other in the other assets. So from this perspective, I think that because of institutions are in the business, I think Chris can give even more details about this. Now we can see that the digital assets are part of the whole traditional trading ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just add a little bit more color to some of the points Andrey made. Bitcoin was previously seen as a hedge. There used to be a lot of articles written. I'm holding our research sort of decks and just refer to them. It's no longer the case. It's not a hedge. It's not gold. It's not a store of value. It's a financial instrument that is perfectly correlated to equity markets, unfortunately, over the last 6 months. And that, for us at HAYVN on the trading side, has been the most interesting thing that we've seen over the last 6 months. We didn't think it would happen. We didn't expect crypto to correlate with equity markets. We all believed, let's break it down. We fundamentally believe that the blockchain, the technology that cryptocurrency sits on, is going to change the way we interact with money. A lot of the DeFi people are not very good at explaining it to us, but despite the last 12 months, and man, what an interesting 12 months it's been, from the LunaPR collapse, and then what the idiots at FTX did, and the guys at Binance around FTX. There's a whole bunch of stuff around corporate governance. We talk about it lots. It's one of my favorite topics. Because we're trying to be the grown-ups in the room. Let's go back to the trading side. So the blockchain is technology that will change the way bonds are created, are listed, are distributed, are settled. It'll change the way warrants and commodities and equities, all the financial instruments that humans are used to dealing with, are changing in terms of the way their infrastructure works. That's sort of the evolution of the blockchain. Most of it will be done seamlessly behind the scenes. But for investment banks, for Forex companies, for the magnificent multi-bank group and the like, it's going to change fundamentally the way these businesses are set up. And the saddest thing about the last 12 months is what happened to the token prices. It's very hard to understand. It's very hard to rationalize. Just be cautious of anybody who tells you they've figured it out. Why did it pump in the last week? The inflation data wasn't that much of a surprise. Maybe next week Bitcoin will go on another run and reach $40,000. And then we'll all look at each other and go, yeah, we knew, hey, we're in crypto, it's awesome. But this is not how financial instruments should work. There should be stability, there should be certainty, there should be an understanding of what moves markets. And I think over time, from a coin and a token perspective, hopefully the market matures. But underlying that over the last 12 months has been a steady march and evolution in terms of the technology, its interaction with the financial world. And we've seen that more and more on the payment side of the business. So HAYVN does a lot of work in allowing people to use cryptocurrency in the real world to pay for goods and services. The data is off the charts in terms of wallets increasing, users increasing, the usability of the assets within the financial world and within the real world. And so what's exciting, and I know I sound a little bit negative, stop me if it gets too negative, but what's really exciting is that we had a really bad year. Like, you couldn't write, there'll be movies written about some of these clowns that wrecked the industry over the last 12 months. And during that time, it still took off. Like, the technology still went so far forward. And the industry continues to move and move and move and move at such rapid pace. There's been steps in regulation. There's been a whole lot of work in Congress in the US. So there are a whole bunch of positive, awesome things happening, which set us up really well for 2023. So that was my long-winded response to your initial comment.
I think that's a really good way to put it. Definitely, thank you for the macro overview on markets. What happened, you mentioned the large companies that collapsed in 2022 from LunaPR, Celsius, 3AC, and then, of course, FTX. we have learned a lot from these companies. Like all of a sudden, proof of reserves comes up. Why didn't anyone do proof of reserves before? Now, so of course we're polishing as we go. So what does this mean for 2023?
It means that obviously we need to follow the best practices, not to, how can I say, not to forget about what happened last year, just to start using our best practices. Obviously, I think 2023 will be the year where trust needs to be again in the crypto, because now I think it's a really low level. And on the other side, I think that regulations are coming. In the past, it was slowly. Now I think they are coming really in a proper speed, I would say.
So, Andrey, I'm actually curious because Nexo has so many similarities to Celsius. What has Nexo learned from the collapse of Celsius?
Actually, because we were like a pioneer in this industry, in the lending and staking space. So, actually, Celsius were trying to follow us as a company, as a business model. But the problem here is that it's not necessary to invest all your effort, all your resources in a marketing and a sales. You need to invest also in a risk, in technology, where to be sure that you will be for a long term in the industry. So that's why I think that it was vice versa. But now the new companies, because obviously these gaps need to be filled somehow.
And there needs to be regulation to ensure that. Do you think there was, not do you think, rather, there was lack of regulation, but then that puts us in a limbo because regulation then defies the whole purpose of decentralization. Where is the middle ground? What is the middle ground?
I think here, especially in IFX, where most of the companies are strongly regulated because of the Forex business, I think that we can really learn from this industry. So not to allow companies to do whatever they want, how it was in the FX 25 years ago, or how, for example, is now the business where it's super strictly regulated. I think we can find a middle land, let's say, to put a regulation in place, to be open to this business, but to do it in the right way.
But why is it not happening already? Is it because of lack of understanding, lack of education on what the crypto industry is about?
Because from my perspective, to finish, because from my perspective, most of the people in the crypto space, they are pushing for the business, they are pushing for their sales and marketing stuff, but they don't want to invest, or maybe they lack of knowledge or something, they are not investing in the risk and the right management of the things. So business, yes, business need to be, new business is coming, but not, how can I say? It's not on the. It's not necessary to take all the business which is around.
Let me break it down for a little. Let's talk about what happened and all the bad stuff that happened, and sort of, because like you said, Nikita, there's a lot of regulation, but most of the issues that we faced in the last 6 to 9 months were not regulation. They were corporate governance. It was concentration risk. Luna was one of the top 4 coins, and it collapsed within 24 hours. A lot of people, there's esoteric arguments. There's ones like the one you just said about how regulation is the antithesis of innovation and of decentralization. And look at Luna. The smart contracts that underlined that coin, that told the stable coin what to do, that told it to buy and sell the token and burn it in order to stabilize the price, did what the tin says. The market just destroyed it. It can destroy an effect, it can destroy a currency. The market, you can bet against, they say never bet against the Fed, but Soros in the 80s broke the British pound. So the market broke Luna, but Luna did what it said it would do. It said, I have a mechanism to stabilize, and the laws of finance went to work and destroyed it within 24 hours. Frightening for the contagion risk it unleashed on our industry. There is no disclosure in cryptocurrency. Everyone is a private company. there is not much corporate governance in a boom economy. So crypto was new, it booms. Sam Bankman-Fried shows up to the Qatar Investment Authority and they go, oh yeah, this guy's like a superstar billionaire, and throw $500 million at him. Where's his board of directors? Where is the separation of power between management, CEO, board, and shareholders? When FTX collapsed, I had a lot of time speaking to staff and to shareholders and to the general market about what we do at HAYVN to make sure that we don't become an FTX. And none of it was around regulation. Because if you look up the regulation page on FTX's website, it's like that multi-bank one where they pull up regulated in 17 different countries. So FTX regulated in some weird province in France. Of course, they've got some Estonian license like every other. They've got something in Malta. And none of it helped one bit. My board of directors stops me from doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not allowed to do things without shareholder approval if they're really important, and they have the potential to change the business. I can't take loans. I can't change the business plan. I can't invest in new businesses. Normal corporate governance. I'm not teaching you anything you don't know. But we never did that in cryptocurrency because it was like, shit, quick, give FTX your money because it's going to take off and it's going to be awesome and they're going to give me 10x returns. And have you heard of DeFi? And have you heard of the blockchain? It's going to change the world. So who's at fault? FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. But you saw him. When the emperor's clothes were disclosed, what was he? A 28-year-old kid who failed as a trader and set up a business which boomed, failed to implement corporate governance and collapsed it. Hired his girlfriend, did weird stuff, loans, all that sort of business that you see. And it reflects poorly on our industry. And the natural reaction is to go, ooh, regulation. Whereas I sort of said to the team, their investors should have demanded better. The industry needs to mature and grow up, and there needs to be governance within these organizations. So we provide monthly shareholder updates. We provide a lot of market commentary to the market around what's going on at HAYVN to give our clients that sense of safety so that they know we are not the next FTX. I don't go and get regulated in another country. I don't quickly run to Singapore and go, geez, what have you guys got? Or come to this VARA or DMCC or any of them. Because that's not, I've got a DGM. I've got Cayman. I've got FINMA in Switzerland. I've got Austrac. But the thing that keeps HAYVN safe are the corporate governance safeguards that we have put in place to make sure that there is none of that activity going on. So that's what happened. Can I keep going?
I'm going to stop you there because
okay.
we have 20 minutes. Yeah. In fact, I have a lot of questions, so if we can just maybe keep them a little shorter. Thank you, though. No, I agree with you. I don't think, so what you're trying to say is like, people have this perception in crypto that the more regulation you have, the merrier. But I tend to agree that I don't think that that's really necessarily the right path. Maybe we definitely need to increase quality. And I agree that investors need to do better due diligence. But the whole point of like investing in traditional markets is that a student can come in with no background in investing and invest and feel safe. And I feel like this also needs to be implemented in the cryptocurrency industry because there are things that, for example, how am I supposed to know that LunaPR's blockchain is going to be flawed with alignment to market conditions? We're not technical developers here. Well, most of us aren't. And I don't think that it's our responsibility. I think the industry needs to just, I think this is just teething issues of a young industry. And I hope that in 2023 we start seeing a bit more sophistication across everybody, across investors, across projects, and we find out a way, we eventually get to lead to a path where regulations exist while still ensuring innovation of Web3 industry.
Yeah, they help, right? Regulation, 100% we need that. And so that's exactly the building block. We've got a research arm, investment banking, independent grade research for our clients so that they can understand the tokens, the blockchains behind them. how many people have bought crypto because it's going to go up 5x, right? When you start playing that Robin Hood game of, and that's like, I got kids, I love millennials and all, but, it's the real world. These are financial assets. It doesn't always go up. Don't just buy whatever garbage you read on whatever Snapchat you're on. So we provide independent investment, and that's why we don't do retail, because it's really messy at times. I don't want to have kids investing through HAYVN and losing their pocket money, and then I don't want others losing their kids' investment funds. So we've taken an institutional business corporate approach because you're right, the industry needs to grow up a little bit. But
that's
on the retail side.
That's also about the industry becoming more sophisticated. Where in traditional markets can you leverage 1000x? Why can you do that in crypto? So we need to, the industry needs to change up. And that's why every bear market, I'm thankful because it wipes out the crap. It cleans up the market.
At the end of the day, it's not necessary to invest in every single asset, in every single asset class. If you don't understand, let's say, Luna, you can invest in Bitcoin, for example, if you know Bitcoin. It's the same if you are going to invest in stock market, let's say, you're not investing in all the shares there. You do your proper research, you find your, let's say, asset where you can understand, you know the business, you believe in the business, and after that you invest. You're not buying hundreds of stocks just because it's modern or something. You just
exactly. And there are a lot of platforms.
It's the same like the crypto assets.
There's a lot of platforms to help with easy trade.
If you are still not ready, you can use, I don't know, funds or some other professional advisors where you can use their help and invest after that.
Yeah, there's a lot of platforms where you can trade easily, like FTX, which collapsed, and then the people that are just there, the industry right now is unfair and favors those who have more knowledge. So I think that we'll see this industry grow a lot in 2023. The people that have been burnt have learned a lot. So I think I am actually
since
grateful
FTX,
for what happened.
The amount of assets under custody we have, clients turning around going, I've got my assets on Binance. You saw the little run on Binance, and there's still rumors in the market around that. I don't want a letter from their lawyers, so I'm not saying the run is correct or anything. It's just happening. So we had a whole bunch of clients then turn to us and go, I've got my assets on X, Y, Z. And everyone's going, oh, maybe put them on a ledger. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think the answer is take your money out and stick it under your mattress and pray. So we provide a regulated custody solution, and there'll be more and more regulated custodians. And our assets under custody, our business has taken off since FTX. It's a flight to safety. And look at our name. We're called HAYVN. Yeah, we changed the words so that we look cool. But it's a safe haven. It's a place where you can trade, interact with crypto in a safe environment. And all our tone of voice, ever since FTX, changed to safety, security, stability, corporate governance. There was none of this, hey, innovate this and innovate that and change the world. It just became keep it safe, invest in safe products. We launched a fund the other day, a top 20 coin fund. It basically just buys the top 20 coins. And it says to investors, if you feel that crypto is flawed, has reached a flaw, don't go pick a Luna. I bought Luna all the way down to $3, right? Because I was like, it can't collapse, it can't collapse, it can't collapse, it's crazy. I lost my shirt on that one. So we came out with a top 20 fund so that if you want to invest in crypto, buy this index, it'll track the top 20. When they go up, it'll boom. When they crash, hopefully you won't lose at all. You'll just take the market. So yeah, the market changes.
Regardless of what has happened in the last 1 year with LunaPR, Celsius, 3AC, FTX, I think markets have held up quite well, even then. Bitcoin is at 21K. It's not bad for the amount of damage that we've witnessed in the last 1 year. Cryptocurrency is here to stay. In fact, when I even saw the panel discussion, a broker's nightmare or a pot of gold, I was like, I'm not even going to ask why it's a broker's nightmare. It is a pot of gold. Digital assets are the future. But it will take mass adoption. Now, recently in the news, China and Iran announced their plan to launch a gold-backed stablecoin. However, cryptocurrencies have been banned in these countries. What are your thoughts? I feel very I love it that they're kind of working towards mass adoption and introducing digital assets, but I hate the hypocrisy of it. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's since I start following the crypto in general almost 10 years ago, it's constantly one way or another. One country decided, okay, let's adopt crypto fully. After that, no, let's stop crypto fully. After that, let's go back. So I'm not surprised, to be honest, about this. And also, I'm not, how can I say, I'm sure that this will be not the last decision for these countries, and not only for this. Now, we can see, for example, that there are different types of adoption in different countries, even in Europe, in US, in the different states, because we are obviously having different licenses in different states and countries in Europe. So we are pushing for all the regulator, all the requirements to be, let's say, to be in line with this. And they are constantly one way, another way. Now we are expecting new regime of the crypto in general. So it's constantly, it's pretty much like in FX world. So that's why I guess we are all here, because it's really part of the business in general. And that's why FX companies are also start offering crypto. It can be a CFD, it can be future, it can be even spot trading. I think we are in the same boat.
And it's been over 1 year since El Salvador implemented Bitcoin as legal tender. That didn't go very well, just because of how much Bitcoin has dropped, but it really helped introduce mass adoption. I think even Miss World El Salvador was dressed in a Bitcoin costume, which is interesting. What are your thoughts? Do you think more countries should implement Bitcoin as legal tender, or was this a massive fail?
We don't deal with OFAC sanctioned countries. So if anyone sends us crypto from Iran or one of the other axis of evil, our systems will check it and send it, or quarantine it and send it out. Financial sanctions and US financial sanctions, like the ones imposed on Iran, Syria, and Russia now, are incredibly damaging. I remember we were having a discussion internally about, you know how the crypto guys are always, yeah, but what backs the US dollar? It's not backed by gold. And one of the Americans in the team said, yeah, our US dollar is backed by 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers that patrol the world and can inflict damage on you at any moment of time. And that's what underpins the US dollar. So when the US turns its sanctions against the country and weaponizes it, you get El Salvador, you get the poor guys in Iran who have a failed financial system, coming up with a gold-backed digital coin. The Russians are under immense pressure to do something as well. There's only so much real estate in Dubai you can buy. So there's a lot of, so they then turn to crypto. And whilst I share your thoughts and welcome the innovation, and I love that like Miss World wore a Bitcoin dress, it also makes us weird and makes us look like idiots in the financial system. And I wish they would all stop doing it, because there's so much awesome work going on central bank digital coins in all like the normal G7, G20 countries. And this all gets pushed to the side. And all we get to see is the Iranians have a stable coin. And you're like, oh. You know, the El Salvadorians have turned to Bitcoin as legal tender. And you're like, no, really? It's not designed to be legal tender. It doesn't work like that. But I get why you've sort of been pushed to do this. And you know, like I'm a socialist as much as anyone. You know, I don't like inequality and stuff. But you know, we're a regulated financial services platform. Innovation in central bank coins is happening in probably 70 to 75% of central banks around the world. I was with the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka just before it all collapsed, talking to them about how cryptocurrency and the blockchain will help strengthen their FX reserves, and having proper mature discussions with global central bank governors. And that continues today. And I think that technology and the way that it will help governments manage fiscal policy, you know, the traditional arm of fiscal policy, interest rates, etc., are very, very brutal and very, very basic, but they still work. Central bank digital currencies are an incredible tool of fiscal policy, they're misunderstood because a lot of the noise is around, hey, guess what? You know, the crises did X or they did Y. But underlying that is some incredible technology. So I share your excitement in seeing it. I just wish we would focus a little bit more on the countries that are rolling it out, not in response to sanctions and damage to their economies, but are actually rolling it out to enhance and refine sort of fiscal policy.
That's a very white-collar way to put it. And I can tell that you come from an institutional background. Because, no, and it's great to have the perspective because, you know, like for me, as an example, I don't come from a financial background. I studied chemistry. I come from a science background, and I got into media and PR. Been an entrepreneur since I was 21. And never invested in my life. And my first ever investment was Bitcoin. And, you know, just because someone told me to invest in it. And at the time, you had this recurring buy option on Coinbase. And I accidentally clicked recurring buy. And after 6 months, I fell uphill. And that changed my life. And there are many young people out there with the same story that I have. So I feel in one aspect, that's the beauty of Bitcoin, is who made the rules? Who says that it should be done for fiscal policy? Why can't they use it as, okay, legal tender, maybe not Bitcoin, for example, but Abu Dhabi might launch a stable coin. Is this the right way forward? I think it's just great to see mass adoption of digital currency anywhere because there are flaws in the current, there are flaws in the way money works today. There are flaws in the US. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by nuclear weapons either. I'm American and I do not agree with what that guy said. But I think it's you cannot compare crypto to traditional finance because it's new currency. It's just a whole new world out there. It's very raw. What are your thoughts, Andrey?
Well, it's new, but as I mentioned already, it's really similar. I mean, it's still, as you mentioned, it was your first investment, right? For a lot of people before you, first investment was to buy euro-dollar, for example, or to buy, I don't know, gold. Or a lot of Americans first investment to open a Robinhood, let's say, and buy half of Apple stock, for example. So it's really depends on the perspective how we are looking at these assets as a trading asset, let's say, because there are two ways of looking at this cryptocurrency. One is just for investment, for trading, for speculating, and the other is for payment solution, for where you can really use the blockchain technology as something really useful. And I think this is the part where all the banks, all the governments, all the countries are investing now and start using the technology of
right.
blockchain.
And it all started from a little gaming community that started using Bitcoin
like
for in-game usage. You know, and look how far, and I think we owe it to them. But let's move on and let's talk about the landscape in the Middle East. So the Middle East has been very welcoming to crypto projects, especially since the pandemic. Chris, you were saying that you have a license in ADGM. What is so attractive about this region? Why are companies flocking to the Middle East?
From a crypto perspective, it has the most take-up by far of any of the regions, including Asia. So, as you said, like the mass adoption of it within the Middle East, I guess people here are a bit more entrepreneurial, they're a bit more happy to take a risk. And so the adoption rates in cryptocurrency of the region are through the roof. So our ADGM regulatory framework is probably the most severe regulatory framework globally available. And we went there for that reason, because I wanted to be able to sit with a pension fund in Kuwait and sort of say, hey, you know, we didn't go find the easiest regulator, we found the toughest one. And it's in the ADGM, and that means something to people. So the regulatory framework within the region has always been really strong. You know, hopefully Dubai sorts out the regulatory framework. It's currently sort of being split between some of the free zones, DMCC, and this one, the trade area, the new one, VARA. but it's, meaningful regulation means something. So the region. Dubai, on the other hand, because we're such a hub and because it's such an awesome place and because Sheikh Mo runs this place so awesomely, he saw that this industry is one of the biggest sort of movers of capital, digital nomads, talent, and he set up 18 months ago to bring it all here. And he's done that. And it'll continue to be an amazing hub for the blockchain. Cryptocurrencies are built on the blockchain, but it's always, and you'll hear me differentiate between the two, because there's so much great stuff going on in DeFi, Web 3.0, and Dubai will be the regional hub of that. But the rest of the region, we have some issues with the central banks. Central banks, as a rule, don't like cryptocurrency because they can't track it and control it, and it takes away, sorry to go back to the boring stuff, but it takes away the arms of fiscal policy. You can't affect liquidity if it's not in your control. So there's some issues around central banks evolving, and hopefully the central bank stable coins will help them sort of learn, and it'll find its way into the financial system. But I think in terms of the exciting things that you spoke about, Nikita, the innovation, the new products, and the way that cryptocurrency evolved from gaming. So it was in-app purchases within the gaming industry that created the blockchain, that created the code that would eventually turn into what we have today. So I think that this region is going to continue to be a great hub for the blockchain. We've got a team based out here. We're invested, we're in Abu Dhabi. It's the capital, it's the home of money in the UAE. So for us, that made sense.
I think...
you guys here?
Yeah. Of course, there is a great potential in general in the region, not only because of the how can I say, the value of the technology, but also there are a lot of investment companies, a lot of also brokerage companies who are offering this to the whole region directly from here, which is, I guess, for this region specifically, is important to be let's say to have a presence on the ground.
Exactly. It's a whole ecosystem.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's why
projects,
it's
investment.
and I believe that we are, for this specific region and for this industry, I think we are here. It's the very beginning of what we will see developing all the ecosystem of cryptocurrency, the region, and the financial industry in general.
For sure. In fact, it was so funny because just the other day I got on phone with a client who said that he raised $21 million for his crypto project during a bear market. I was like, sorry, this sounds so 2017. Like, how did you manage to do that? And he says, I raised investment from Saudi, oil and gas money. And I just love that. Like, there's such an untapped market in the Middle East for crypto projects. There is still an appetite here. So I think there's so much, like, already that's such an attractive part of the region. I think one more thing that has drawn so many people here is that Dubai, in particular, the UAE, wants to be the first in everything, the first and the biggest. They launched the Metaverse Assembly. They announced that they were going to measure parts of their GDP in the Metaverse. Not even sure what that means and how that even works, but it just sounds fantastic. And now with the rise of ChatGPT has taken the world by storm, AI is a very big upcoming trend, and I'm sure Dubai will be one of the first ones to somehow implement that. What are your thoughts, and we'll just make it really quick, we have 2 more minutes left. What are your thoughts on Web3 trends for 2023?
Till now we were discussing the future, that is the blockchain, the Bitcoin, etc. I think the Web.3 is not the future, it's now, it's coming. Our company also, Nexo, is also now we are having Web3 custodian accounts, wallets, so we are investing a lot in this technology.
Nexo is DeFi, right? So
exactly.
like DeFi kind of died in 2018 and kind of came back to life. What do you think, like, is 2023 a big year for DeFi?
I'm sure it is, and that's why we are investing not only in the last year, but a few years ago we started investing in this project, so that's why I think that we're in a good path here.
And Chris, you were mentioning you're doing something with the Metaverse. Do you feel like, I mean, now with Apple's headset, Facebook changed its name to Meta, old news already, but like all these big companies are looking into the Metaverse. What are you doing in the Metaverse? Is that a big trend for 23, and how does it benefit you?
We have a head office in the Metaverse. We did that little bit pre-crash because it was going to take off. But I still genuinely believe in that the Metaverse will be a new ecosystem for people to transact or to do other things beyond transact, as in to entertain themselves. So in the future, probably towards the end of this year, you'll be able to have, you in the Metaverse will be hosting client meetings there. All our webinars are going on to the Metaverse. Our shareholders, try explaining that to the shareholders. I don't know how we're going to monetize it yet, but at the moment it's just about pushing that technology forward because it's such amazing technology, and it'll flow through into many other industries. So we're big supporters of the Metaverse for 2023 and think it's one of the big one of the big gainers when it comes to that decentralized universe.
That's awesome, guys. It's so exciting. Web3, AI, Metaverse, NFTs, digital assets, blockchain protocols. This is definitely, well, the future is now, as Andrey said. And it's really great to see so many pioneers. You guys are first movers in this space. So it's awesome to be in the right place at the right time. And I know we'll all benefit from being here and being pioneers. I hope you enjoyed our panel discussion, and if you have any questions, we'll be around. Thank you. I think we ran out of time, so you can just catch us around here. Thank you.